team. So much gratitude on how strong their commitment is to the team now and to the future, doing what was necessary to secure their critical next step in the road back to RFK. How much it means to the team, the community, man, that's really cool. So I was super pumped for him and for all the, the members and the limited partners that are with him. A lot of gratitude for how strong he's shown that support for us. I'm looking forward to see the updates in the building, but yesterday's news, that's a really big deal. So why don't we get rocking today?
All right, Dan, the other day, Terry requested a trade. I'm just curious your reaction to that.
Yeah, he had he let me know that was happening too, so I definitely appreciated that. Look, I think it's easy. We love Terry. I'm really glad he's here. Hopefully he's out practicing soon. And we also understand there's the business side of this things that Adam and his side and Terry and his reps are working it through. So I just kind of, stay in that space. We recognize both are happening, but like I said, I'm really glad he's here. I love coaching him, and but the business side, that's kind of where it's at. And it's not, somebody asked me, is it a distraction? It is not. The players today, they're more aware of contracts and things maybe than they used to be, and they recognize that business part happens as well. So for the team, we're just rocking and going and throwing some great practices. For Terry and the trade request, like, man, that's part of normal business that it's happening around the NFL. It's normal. We understand it, and we just throw our very best practices out on the field.
Well, you kind of ruined my second question.
That's what I tried to do.
But I'll stick with some of it anyway. But
see how that is an audible, John. Let's see you adjust, man.
Do you address?
I still got him. This never happens, you guys. This is awesome.
It's early. Do you address it with the players though? And do you ever worry that this becomes something bigger that you have to deal with?
No need. There's just no need to do that and compare and talk and compare another man's money. That's just not it. And so, like I said, around the NFL, I think there's more awareness maybe than there's ever been of teammates and contract and business. And so we don't address it. And this group is tight. And honestly, they're really focused on what they have to do in that time, knowing that behind the scenes, they know Adam and the guys are also working really hard at it too.
Dan, curious about last year when you guys decided to rotate the tackles with Brandon and Cornelius. How did you guys decide to sort of get to that? And did that experience kind of help you as you're looking this year with Josh and Andrew possibly?
We just want to make competition as the central theme then. And if we do that at quarterback last year with Jaden and Marcus, and at tackle with Brandon and Luke, and we're doing it again right now with Andrew and Josh, it's part of who we are. And I never wanted a player to ever feel anything other than that. If you get this gig, you earned it, and you had to fight for it. And that's the world of a competitor. And so it's designed, some by day, some by period. And it takes a while to get there. You have to go through some more evaluations, but it's important.
Do you think that rotation could be in play this year, or it's just too early? You'll just have to see how Josh progress.
Yeah, definitely too early to say. Some of Brandon's injury was a factor in that during training camp last year, Ben, so we started that way, but too early to call.
Just an early impression of Connerly and how these rookies are getting into everything.
Yeah, it's a good class, JP. They have maturity. Their work ethic is strong. I had told the coaches I was impressed by the amount of work they did in the spring rookie camp, getting the guys ready. It doesn't show itself at mini camp. They're still swimming. There's still too much information, but it does show now. It does show when they're able to now compete and fully express who they are, how they play. And so they're off to a good start, man. I've been impressed by Lane. There's a number of guys that have jumped out to me so far. And as we're getting kind of, into this and into some practices and preseason games, it's really cool, man, to see them really, stand and fight for it. And they put themselves in a good position to do that.
And with Mariota not really doing much team drills lately, we've seen a lot of Sam Hartman. Have you decided on a plan for New England, next Friday night, and when will you come up with that?
Yeah, Marcus is back full at it today. And so that will adjust. But that is the silver lining that happens where Josh and Sam got more reps. They're certainly in their own battle, as we're looking at the third quarterback spot. So often we say this starting spot or this starting spot, but there's this type of competition all over. And there's a long way to go for that, but we're going to be creative in how we get the playing time for them. And some of that will include game time. And we'll look forward to that, but we've not finalized any of that until we kind of get ready for our trip. We're kind of in this space. We'll take a day, and then we'll begin the prep for New England and how much practice versus playing along those lines.
I did. I know you said this is part of the NFL. Players have more awareness, but is there any part of you that is surprised that it's gotten to this point with Terry?
I'm not surprised. Honestly, I'm glad he's here, and I do love coaching him, Nikki. So I've tried to avoid judging it. I can't be in his spots. I recognize the players are trying to set themselves, send their families up. So I try not to put myself into that spot. It's too easy to say, man, if I had that much, I'd be this or that. And so I don't go there. Try to support him, as best I can. But we don't discuss the finance part of things. That's the partnership with Adam and I. Where's our strengths? How do we work together? And many things we do together. This is not one of them.
And while he's been in the building, how has he been with the other guys?
Good. Like I said, the mornings are different because he's doing the strength work and soon to be some field work too. But then the afternoons is kind of normal. We do team meetings and then in the walkthroughs. You can't participate them, but he's around. He's standing next to Bobby and hearing the calls. So it's good to be around teammates. It really is, because those are the people like we spend so much time with, and that's why having an environment where you work at is so important. We spend half our lives together here, and so creating an environment of one that's like, man, I enjoy coming here. I get better. People challenge me. It's a really cool place to come work and play football, and we work hard at that too, the environment. And so he's definitely part of that and feels those guys. And even though he's not participating, there's still plenty to do.
Holdouts and contract things can get, especially to get to this point, very emotional.
Yes.
You can kind of get away really fast. How is this not? How do you not make it emotional? I mean,
you're right. I'm glad that you brought it up, because sometimes those are the emotions, and that's the human side of it, right? And knowing there can be emotions, that's the ones you attach to at that moment. And so for me as the coach, give the support, give the insights. Do you want advice? Not. And so that's the way that you do it. But it is an emotional time. It's so damn important. And each player, it won't be quite the same in how that's happening, their support, their age, all of that. So I just try to not judge it as best I can. And it's not always that easy to do, knowing it's an emotional time. Our times together are intense for different reasons. Sometimes it's the competitive intensity. Other times it's something like this where you're just, and you're feeling some kind of way. So I just try to make sure, man, support the player as best they can, knowing that they're, accessing emotions that are hard.
Coach, wanted to ask you about kind of your running back room overall here, and have you had any, just in your time as a head coach, have you had a philosophy over maybe how many running backs you like to keep on the roster, or does that change from team to team, and has it kind of evolved over your time as a head coach?
It does evolve. It does change. There's also the special team side of things, and I think with kickoff returning at a premium now too, okay, is the returner have those running back traits? So I think you're on a great topic. It'll be interesting to see in this year and the years ahead how many of those returners are running backs, how many are receivers, and it will definitely factor the roster. Most teams also have, additional running backs on the practice squad that can get elevated, but it's definitely more, and I do think that the special teams is a really big factor into that. So having that additional value, that's a big deal.
I know during the off season, you and AP are pretty. You talk often about personnel and whatnot. As you get to this point of the year and other situations kind of similar to Terry develop around the league, how much do you keep in touch with Adam about those sorts of things? And do you give your input there?
Yeah, we watch. The one thing we do together, just the two of us every day, is we watch practice together. And some of the time it's about practice when we're watching it. Other times it's around other things that goes. Just having that time together every day to talk, it's important, for us, for our relationship, for the team. And so you'd be surprised if you just put the tape on, leads into one thing, you hit pause, something else comes up, you talk through it. And so we do that every day of practice. We watch just practice, the two of us together. He may catch me up on things. I try to give him insight on some of the things that a guy may be being coached on or how they're performing. There's a lot of players to evaluate, so it's not like you can see 90 players on, every day, every moment. So I try to highlight those players, and he gives me insights back. So I enjoy that time that we do that.
Coach, we hear a ton from the fans about what the potential move back to D.C., what this means to the fan base and the community. I wonder for yourself, someone who's been around this game for decades, you remember when the team played in D.C., what's it like for you to presumptively be the head coach of this team if and when it returns back to its home?
Yeah, I know these guys have been working incredibly hard, man. Like, this is a lot of big steps, that they're putting together. So as much as I think about down the road, I also think about the work that's going in, like, right now, and the type of, attitude it takes to stand up and fight for what you want. So I haven't thought much about down the road, but I think at this point, gratitude for Josh and his team to, make this happen. I always have a real appreciation for people that put in the work. And obviously this takes a lot of work to do that. I wish I had coached at RFK. I didn't, but I saw it a lot. And as a, member of this, organization, the DMV, and so for all former Redskins, Commanders, everybody, there's that energy about it. So I'll leave it till then. But in this moment, I appreciate the work it takes to get to that next step. All right, you guys have a good one.